Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to look at Lewis dot diagrams for ions instead of just neutral atoms. So remember, we're only showing valence electrons. Valence electrons are the outer electrons, but ions have either gained or lost those valence electrons. So metals are always going to lose valence electrons and become positive. They'll become cations, like this sodium ion right here. It doesn't have as strong of a force of attraction between its nucleus and outer electrons. So it loses that one valence electron. And so instead of having 11 protons and 11 electrons, it now has 11 protons, but only 10 electrons. Nonmetals, on the other hand, gain electrons. They have a stronger force of attraction between nucleus and valence electrons, so they gain electrons and become negative, like this chlorine atom. So the chlorine originally had 17 protons, equaling 17 electrons, but notice it gains one more to have a full outer valence shell, which means now it has 18 electrons, giving it an overall -1 charge. We need that information in order to properly draw the Lewis diagram. So let's say we're going to deal with calcium, and I would look on my periodic table and find it in column 2, which means it's a metal and it's going to lose 2 electrons, backing up so that it can be like the noble gas argon. It wants to have an electron configuration just like argon. So it's going to lose 2 electrons, which gives it a 2+ charge. When we draw the diagram, we are going to draw the element symbol. And remember, there's 4 neat sides to that symbol. And I'm going to indicate what happened to the atom in order for it to become an ion. It did have 2 valence electrons, but remember, to become an ion, it lost those 2 electrons. Well, I can't just leave my symbol like that because it looks like I'm not done. So to show what happened, we're actually going to draw brackets around the symbol, and we're going to write that ion charge outside the brackets, but notice that there's no dots because we're indicating that it actually lost those 2 valence electrons. So we draw the symbol with no dots, but to show that we're still drawing a Lewis diagram, we put the brackets and we put the charge. Okay, what if we do a non-metal? So let's find bromine. Bromine is here on the periodic table. It says column 17, but I know that that is a representative column and it really can be considered column 7. That bromine is going to have 7 valence electrons. So let me start drawing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now think about what's going to happen to it when it becomes an ion. It's going to gain an electron because it wants to be like krypton. It wants to have a full outer shell, which means it's going to become a Br- ion, Br with 1 negative charge. So what's going to happen in the valence shell, and how we'll indicate in the Lewis diagram, is we're going to draw one more dot. We're going to now fill that shell with 8 dots. But we need to indicate that something happened in order for it to change from an atom to an ion. So we draw the brackets and we put that charge outside the bracket to show that it's not a neutral bromine, it's an anion. So for Lewis diagrams for ions, you will always need to include brackets around the symbol and put the ion charge to make it complete.